11/19/2011, 11:39 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Saturday. One of the things that we are going to point out very clearly is that the super committee, and this is the Dow Jones weekly chart, by the way, and how all of this will affect the Dow. One of the things that we have been telling all of our clients is that we have been in a 4-week topping process, and we have been held hostage to Europe, Italy, Greece, Portugal, France, Spain's the next big one. However, let's take a look at the 4-week topping pattern here. And we came down to the calendar year low. And we maintained the 200 weekly moving average. But look at here. We've got another 1, 2, 3rd, and the 4th week. And it's descending in value. It's going this way. And it's coming down. So we were in the bear trend here. That was entering the bear trend. You've got 1 week, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks above the rising 10 week. So you went from this longer calendar 2011 bear trend into a new beginning, fresh born bull trend, because the 10 week crossed above the 100. It's rising. It's going up in value. It's not going down in value in the bear. So the pro and the con for both bull and bear is that you don't like to see a 4-week resistance level this strong as you had seen over here when that one was very strong, and then naturally you start with the sell, weekly sell, and you come down. Here we've rallied off those lows. And we're coming in to test the weekly moving averages. That 50-week moving average, this one here, it has been violated. That's this 50-week. That's the pink one. Yes, you sold down to the 20-week. I will give out the weekly moving averages, as I feel it's very important for the MMTs to understand where that 50-week moving average is going to be, as 11,930 as of today's date, 11,930.87. Now, that 100-week moving average below the floor, oh my goodness, write this down, because that's where, if you sell through the 20 and the 10-week here, that's your ultimate support level. That's 11,258.43 MMT. The volatility in the Dow for the calendar week was 494 points from the top to the bottom, or from the bottom up. It doesn't matter. It was 494 trading range points on the weekly movement. Now, this is the beginning of a new bull cycle that we've had. However, with all of the complications in the United States coming up on deck next week, even though that next week is a light holiday week, you're still going to have to deal with the liquidation processes that have been happening around the world. And in emerging markets and or developing countries and or U.S. markets and structures, whatever the worldwide structure is, we are experts in understanding where these problems eventually end up, as we always have said. The alarming thing is that we have to hold support here at this major, what used to be the calendar year resistance right here. MMTs and my fellow friends, happy Thanksgiving to everyone. So you've had a weekly sell-off to key support levels coming into play. The 20-week moving average, it would be nice of you, MMT, to write that down. That's 11,646. The 10-week moving average, MMT, it would be very nice for you to write that down. That's at 11,591.45 on the blue line. Now, one thing about it all is if we come down and we sell through it, and we close below that 20 and that 10 week, then a new bear trend would be confirmed if you close 4 consecutive weeks below the blue line. that would have to be the qualifier. Just like the 10-week had to flatten out and go ascending, and you had to get a gap above it, that's the qualifier, and you had to close 4 weeks above it, and it was rising. It's bullish. So the Dow on the way down, unless there's total failure. So A is, should the super committee fail and not do anything, how the markets are going to respond to that negative. The other is the FXE, the euro currency, and the FXE is how is that trading? Elevated fears. The thing about Italy and how does Spain hit the market, and what's the difference between Germany now, and what's the difference between France, and you know, what are the implications with Chinese imports and exports into Europe, and what are all of the various different things that go into this big global austerity, is what they like to call it. What we're telling you is that you have everything going for you. If all of those three parties fail, we're going to break below these moving averages, and we stand to come all the way back down here to the 200 week. Should that plan and failure, and they don't get the right things done around the world, you're looking at 10620.065. That's 10,620 down here on that 200 week. What rode part of the rally up was people started looking at valuations in the United States versus Italy versus Greece and all of that. When we got up here into this 3 week top, part of this 2 week reversal to one positive week, this is a reversal now to support levels. And if they break this, you're going to come down and test this. It will be mainly dependent that if they don't come to a resolution and get the proper capital injections needed through various different financial institutions worldwide, as to what the Federal Reserve here in the U.S. is going to do about it, well, they're doing a lot of things behind the door you don't know about. We do. You can stay tuned. You just keep following stockmarketfunding.com. You won't get let down. You will not be let down here as far as your analysis go. And MMTs, the bull trend that started here is only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 weeks into it with the qualifier. When we come down and test it, if we break through it, we're selling down. We would be transacting more of the put side in the market if the U.S. fails, and the rest of Europe will follow. The drawdown about all of the various different supply chains that will be affected around the world, and how the capital system will run through a certain way that these markets do not want to see. But I will tell you, if that case happens, then we'll just short the market and make lots of money as it comes all the way down in that scenario. Now the other scenario is, what if they all do the right thing? Well, you're going to bounce off these support levels. You're going to go back up. You're going to break the high. You're going to come all the way back up here where the original 12.7 area, at the highs of where the original reversal started. You would come, so if they do the right thing, that's where you're going to come to here. So there is B, is they do the right thing, then you could come all the way up here. A plan, if they do the wrong thing, the Dow sells all the way back down through its bull side run, bull side 52-week calendar year low, October 4th. It started, and what drove it higher can reverse it. The bull side is, this is a very strong point of the year outside of your austerity. The thing about November, underperforming U.S. asset managers, a lot of people have been liquidated and gone out of business. MF Global is a good example, not to mention others you don't know about. We do. And that's where a lot of hedge funds have to get margin calls and lots of other things that happen. The collateral to the debt reserves, I call them, they've been reserving this debt. They got a big debt, they put it in the reserve bank. But now how's that debt going to get out of there, and how's that debt going to get paid down, and how's that going to affect our worldwide picture? And where do we end up? This is the time of year that people buy and chase stocks if they believe that there's going to be future growth in the economy. We'll be talking a lot more about 2012, but right now, with the light Thanksgiving rally coming upon us, we would say that after a good sell down week with a good strong support right there on the Dow, that the Dow will hold that support if things are favorably coming out of economic events worldwide. You're going to break higher. If not, you're going to sell down and test the lower end of the market. We will remain held hostage to Europe's crisis until there is not as anticipated, and or we can get through the calendar year of 2011, because no matter what they do, it will fail in 2012. And stay tuned for those updates. They're very good. It's all before the fact. And then that way you can see how accurate we were. Or if we weren't accurate, you'll be able to see that too. But you'll see that there are very few people in the world who can tell you ahead of time and map out that right risk management diversified plan. Risk management diversified plan, so that you can get profitable around the world, in the US and around the world. So you make money on the failure of the Dow. If things don't go right, this whole rally's in jeopardy. Bottom line, if things do go right, you've got a lot of support right here on this Dow. And it will take a little while to break these lines, but if they do break through and sell through, then more selling pressure will happen through this support level here. I'm going to conclude the Dow, the economic part of it, the year-end Santa Claus turkey rally. Happy Thanksgiving to you. And may everything be okay with you and the markets.